Welcome back to the Navy Sports Magazine. Spring football at hand for the Navy Midshipmen. And, of course, perhaps the best unit on this football team a year ago was its offensive line. There were certain questions coming into the season, but they were answered right away for this group. Joining us now is guard Evan Martin. And as you all went into last season, there were some question marks because people hadn't seen some people on this offensive line. How did you all put it together so quickly and allow this offensive machine to keep on going despite all the problems you all had with injuries during the course of the year?
Well, I think that because like a lot of the guys who were stepping up, we had a little bit of experience. I mean, the most experienced person was Blake Copeland because he had started a couple of games, and then Adam West, who was fairly experienced, and Maurice, myself, and Andrew. We all had a little bit of experience, but not as much. But we all decided we wanted to really step up, and we were all hungry because we didn't have as much experience. Adam and Blake and Maurice's case was the fact that they hadn't played, so they really wanted to show out and really give it what they had as seniors. I wanted to get on the field because I had fought really hard to get to where I was, and Andrew, being a sophomore, of course he wants to play. So it really wasn't much for us to give it everything we had.
How much of an inspiration was it to see Big Mo play the way he did? Because I know you all had been waiting on it. There were always flashes in practice that he could do it, but he really put it all together, and maybe it was that final piece to the puzzle that you all needed last year.
Yeah, Big Mo was, he's always been, because my locker's right next to his.
Sure,
he's 70,
right.
I'm 71, so I've known him for 3 years and 3 seasons, and to watch him from where he was coming into my freshman year to where he finished as a senior. It was really interesting to see him develop as a player and to develop as a person. And when he played, game day Mo, I always joke, is very different from Mo at practice because Mo at practice tries to really focus on his technique and really focus on doing his assignment. But game day, it's completely cuts it loose. Same with Adam West and Blake. Everything game day, who they were on during the game was very different than who they were off the field. And it was really awesome to play with him. He'd still get mad at me if I stepped on his feet and stuff like that. It was just fun.
As you and I were talking beforehand, your dad was a defensive lineman in the National Football League. Obviously, there's always that hunger to follow in his footsteps. Your high school team needed you to play offensive line, and then you have to come here to a system that's not quite like everywhere else. How tough was that transition to the type of blocking you're asked to do here, as you're probably doing at most traditional high schools?
I would say the hardest transition part of it wasn't so much the blocking assignments, because you can learn the X's and O's. You can learn how to block. They can teach you what to do. But what you had to really learn and really figure out through trial by fire was the culture of what they're demanding out of you. Because it's not a matter of, can you base block? Can you get your hands inside? Can you get your shoulders back when you pass practice? Are you going to go out? Are you going to give it everything you got in the fourth quarter? Are you going to get your pads down and be disciplined when it's 4th and 1? We need to push up front. Are you going to are you going to be there when we need a quarterback sneak and you're going to run right behind you? It's a mentality thing that was kind of hard the hardest thing for me to figure out. I finally caught on to it toward the end of my sophomore year, but as far as assignment wise, not that bad, but in terms of just understand the physicality of it was a little different.
The intriguing thing from talking to your coaches through the years about you all as a group on the offensive line, you all run for 350, 400 in a game, and when you talk to your coaches and you would find out how they graded you all out, sometimes it would be a D, sometimes it would be a C. How do you not take that personal when statistically it looks good, the team does well, you may win the game, but how do you have to look through that to see, as you mentioned, that culture of perfection that they're striving for every single play when you all are out there?
It's kind of funny. We always joke about it because, honestly, the highest grade I've ever heard of a player ever receiving in a game was E.K. Benz. He graded at a 59, I think, against Colgate my youngster year. And most of the time I've graded, on average 35, 40. So I guess in our mind.
Is that out of a scale of 100?
Yeah, 40%. Yeah.
My goodness.
But to understand what Coach Ingram is asking out of us, to understand what's demanded out of us, it's always effort, technique. Did you finish your block? did you like loaf, or did you like pull back, or did you not run through? Like, there's so many areas where critiquing, and coach's job is, and coaching was always stressed that his job is to critique, as that's just the nature of coaching. He's going to tell you what you're doing wrong no matter what. Occasionally he might tell you, okay, that was a good job, okay, you're doing good, but he's not going to be like, oh man, good job every play, or oh man, no. He's going to say, you need to get your second step down, you need to get your hands inside, you need to run through that block. That's not a good enough effort. That's not a good enough effort. And that's kind of like, I guess it keeps us humble. Because, I mean, we're also like a group of people where, I guess, like, they're used to, it's kind of like herding cattle, or herding bulls is really a better analogy. Because, that we're all like kind of alpha male-ish personalities, but sometimes you need to get a stick fire under us to get us going. But, like, when we get going, we're really rolling. But, I mean, as far as the grading goes, I don't take it too personally. It's like, I was on the field.
Right.
And I watched Chris High score some touchdowns. I watched Will score touchdowns. I helped Taco score. Like, that to me is all I really cared about. If I grade a 5%, I mean, that's not good because I should be grading that low. But if we win, we win.
Let's take a look at the short-term focus here as spring practice gets underway. What are the goals as a group for you all in the offensive line that you try to accomplish in this short period that you have for spring practice?
Well, our goal, and we talked about it today at least, is from our coaches is to establish that you want to come out of spring ball as a player saying, that guy is tough, that guy is reliable, like I can trust that guy if I put him into a game. And that should be the goal for all of us. Just within the players, we want to establish more dominant culture. We want to be more like the offensive line, like with John Dowd, Brady DeMel, Josh Cabral, guys who may not have been that big, but were giving it every ounce of their soul no matter what happened. They didn't really care. They had very limited regard for their bodies, and were just going out there all full steam. Now, granted, we are bigger, and that's kind of the issue we're running into as far as like coming off the ball and having the speed. But our thing is, it's a combination of speed and mentality. I mean, if you have to drop weight to get a little bit quicker, I mean, don't drop too much weight, but you have to be. We're trying to come off the ball. We're trying to get after people, and that's what we're trying to establish as seniors, to understand for the young guys moving forward.
All right. Finally, if you had to put a shot put in your hand right now, how far do you think you could throw it?
Ooh, man. I don't know. Maybe if I warmed up, maybe 44 feet. But it's been a minute since I've thrown.
I know. But I mean, I love guys that played other sports in high school, and with a lot of you, it's quite amazing. I mean, if we really wanted to have some fun, we could almost have, with all of you that have had at least some wrestling in your background at some point, we could have had a heck of a wrestling tournament between Amos Mason and a lot of you other guys within this tournament. We could head over across the street and have a little fun here, during the summer, and have a little wrestling background. How much did playing other sports help, develop that spirit of competition? Because the one thing about no matter what sport you're playing, it's all about competition and developing that want to win.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what in the high school I went to. That's what they emphasized for all of the football players, especially. They said, in the off season, we want you to do off season sports. Whether you're playing basketball or wrestling in the winter, doing track or doing something else in the summer. We want you like competing. And there were guys who didn't do that or just weren't as good. But I think for me personally, like as a team player, it was good to be around because a lot of the guys who would play football also wrestled or also played basketball or also did other stuff. And a lot of guys, especially the linemen, threw shot put. So even if they weren't as good at shot put, we would always be at practice together. We would always lift together. So it developed like cohesion. Like one of my best friends to this day was a shot thrower until he hurt his hand. Is Alexander Grantham. He's at Missouri State now. Doesn't play football anymore, but it's established these lifelong friendships because we spent so much time together, and that competitiveness and that desire to win, not really just for yourself, but for the guy next to you or the guys who were like rooting you on, like, hey man, get it today, man. Good luck at your track meet. Knowing he's not a very good thrower, but knowing I'm like the all-state thrower, like, hey man, you got this. And between me and you, I think the top three is DJ, Dylan Fisher, and Seth. it might be Seth White might be the best one.
See, there you go. I mean, you never know what you're going to learn when you start talking to athletes here at the Naval Academy. Appreciate you stopping by. Best of luck to you and the Brotherhood as you all embark on spring practice.
Sweet. Thank you very much, man.
All right, Evan Martin joining us here on the Navy Sports Magazine.